There is a specific time of day when you are most likely to make a bad financial decision. Not when you are stressed, not when you are excited, not when the market is crashing, when you are tired. Specifically, after a full day of work, decisions, emails, meetings, and mental output. When your brain has spent most of its decision making capacity on things that had nothing to do with your money. And you open an investing app at 9 in the evening. That combination, depleted brain, financial interface, quiet evening, is responsible for a category of portfolio damage so consistent and so invisible that most investors never connect the cause to the cost. It has a name: decision fatigue. And by the end of this video, you are going to redesign your financial life so it almost never affects you again. Let me tell you about Kenji. Kenji is 28. He works in operations at a mid-sized company. His job is mentally demanding. Constant problem solving, back-to-back meetings, dozens of small decisions made throughout every working day. By 7 in the evening, Kenji is done. Not physically tired, mentally emptied. The cognitive tank is at close to zero. This is also, reliably, when Kenji engages with his finances. He checks his investing app while eating dinner. He reads financial news while winding down. He makes contribution decisions, platform switches, and portfolio adjustments in the hour before bed. He thinks he is being responsible, staying on top of things, staying informed. But here is what is actually happening in Kenji's brain during these evening sessions. The part of his brain responsible for careful, deliberate, long-term thinking, the prefrontal cortex, has been running hard since 7 that morning. It is depleted. Its functioning is measurably impaired after a full day of cognitive work. What takes over in its absence is a different decision-making mode: faster, more reactive, more susceptible to defaults, more likely to follow the path of least resistance, more influenced by the last thing seen than by careful analysis. In this state, Kenji has made 4 specific financial decisions in the last 18 months that he would very likely not have made at 9 in the morning with a full tank. He switched platforms, moving his entire portfolio, because a late-night app notification made a competitor look attractive. The switch involved transaction costs and a brief period out of the market during the transfer that cost him approximately $340 in missed returns. He increased his contribution to a specific sector ETF after reading an article at 10 p.m. that made it sound compelling. 2 months later, he rebalanced back. 2 unnecessary transactions. 2 sets of timing decisions made with impaired judgment. He almost panic sold his entire position during a market dip at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, after spending 40 minutes reading negative market commentary. He did not sell, but he moved to cash overnight and bought back in the next morning at slightly higher prices. Cost: approximately $180. He signed up for a premium investing newsletter subscription through an in-app upsell, late on a Friday evening. $19.99 a month. He has read it twice. Annual cost: $240 of value he does not use. None of these decisions felt like mistakes when they were made. All of them were made in a state of cognitive depletion that research consistently shows produces worse financial outcomes than decisions made with a fully resourced brain. Kenji is not a bad investor. He is investing at the wrong time of day and the wrong state of mind. And the invisible leakage is accumulating. Decision fatigue is a well-documented psychological phenomenon with specific and relevant implications for financial behavior. Here is the simple version of the science. Your capacity for careful, deliberate decision-making is a resource. Like physical energy, it depletes with use. The more decisions you make throughout a day, regardless of their importance, the more this resource depletes. A judge who is more likely to grant parole in the morning than in the afternoon. A surgeon who makes different risk assessments before lunch versus after a long operating list. An executive who makes worse strategic decisions at the end of a decision-heavy day. These are not personality failures. They are documented patterns in human cognition under conditions of decision overload. For young professionals in 2026, the modern work environment creates unusually high decision loads, constant connectivity, rapid context switching, information overload. The cognitive demands of a knowledge economy workday are substantially higher than they were a generation ago, and financial platforms, investing apps, trading interfaces, financial news feeds are designed for engagement, not for your cognitive well being, not for the quality of your financial decisions. They send notifications at all hours. They surface prompts when you open the app. They present options and comparisons and trending investments. They are built to capture attention. And they are most effective at capturing attention from a brain that no longer has the resources to critically evaluate what it is seeing. The result is a pattern that plays out across millions of young investors globally. Full cognitive capacity goes to work. Depleted cognitive state meets financial interface. Default choices get made. Reactive decisions get executed. Complexity gets resolved by choosing the easiest option rather than the best one. The financial platform benefits from your engagement. Your portfolio absorbs the cost of your cognitive state. Here is the specific way decision fatigue manifests in financial decisions, because it does not always look like a bad decision in the moment. Default acceptance. A depleted brain accepts defaults. The auto renewal. The platform's suggested allocation. The pre-selected option in a sign-up flow. Defaults are set by platforms in their interest, not yours. A rested brain questions defaults. A depleted brain accepts them. Present bias amplification. Decision fatigue makes the brain even more present bias than it already naturally is, meaning the short-term return, the immediate notification, the feeling right now matters disproportionately more than the long-term outcome. Complexity avoidance through worse choices. When fatigued, the brain resolves complexity by either choosing randomly or by choosing the most extreme option. In financial contexts, this means either ignoring an important decision entirely or making an overly dramatic change when a small adjustment would have been appropriate. Increased susceptibility to persuasion. A depleted brain is significantly more susceptible to the framing effects built into financial marketing. The urgency language, the social proof, the loss aversion triggers. What a rested brain recognizes as manipulation, a fatigued brain experiences as information. Let me quantify what Kenji's decision fatigue cost his portfolio across 18 months. Platform switch with transaction costs and market gap. $340 lost. Unnecessary sector, ETF trade and rebalance. 2 transaction costs plus timing losses. Approximately $220. Late night cash move and morning re-entry at higher price. $180. Unused newsletter subscription. Ongoing. $240 per year. Total identified decision fatigue cost across 18 months, approximately $980. That is the visible cost. The identified decisions he can trace. The invisible cost is harder to calculate, but potentially larger. The compounding on $980 over 30 years at 8% average return, approximately $10,800. Not from a market crash, not from a bad investment thesis, from a series of individually small, individually reasonable seeming decisions made in a state of cognitive depletion. Now, here is the comparison scenario. Kenji implements a decision fatigue protection system, which we will cover shortly, that reduces his financial decision making to a quarterly review, eliminates late night app interaction, and automates every routine financial process. 0 unnecessary trades. 0 platform switches on impulse. 0 subscription upsells accepted in depleted states. 0 cash moves based on late night market commentary. Over the same 18 months, his portfolio stays invested continuously, captures full market returns, and incurs no unnecessary transaction costs. the value of eliminating decision fatigue from his financial life across that period. Approximately $980 directly, plus compounding implications, plus the psychological benefit of not carrying the low grade anxiety of reactive financial management. The protection system does not require more discipline, it requires less decisions. Here is how to design a financial life that is structurally protected from decision fatigue. The goal is not to make better financial decisions when you are tired. The goal is to eliminate the need to make financial decisions when you are tired. Step 1. Identify your decision fatigue window and make it a financial no-fly zone. For most working people, cognitive depletion peaks in the evening after a full workday, typically after 7 or 8 p.m. on weekdays, Friday evenings, Sunday nights when work anxiety is building for Monday. These are your no-fly zones for financial decisions, not because you are incapable, because the evidence is clear that decisions made in these windows produce systematically worse outcomes than decisions made in rested states. Write down your specific no-fly zone hours. Set them in your phone if it helps. Literally schedule a recurring block called No Financial Decisions for your depleted windows. This is not restriction. It is cognitive hygiene. Step 2. Schedule your financial decisions at peak cognitive capacity. For most people, financial decisions should happen on Saturday or Sunday morning. Rested brain. No work decision load accumulated yet. Full cognitive resources available. This is when you review your portfolio if you need to. This is when you evaluate platform options. This is when you read financial content you intend to act on. Not Tuesday evening after a 12-message email chain. Not Friday night after a draining week. Saturday morning, coffee, full tank, financial decisions. If something feels urgent enough to act on outside that window, it almost certainly is not. Genuine financial emergencies are rare. The urgency you feel at 10 p.m. looking at your portfolio is almost always manufactured by the interface or the content you are consuming, not by a genuine time-sensitive situation. Step 3. Automate every routine financial process. We have covered automation in previous scripts, but decision fatigue adds a specific reason why automation matters beyond efficiency. Every financial process that runs automatically is one that cannot be corrupted by a depleted decision state. Your monthly investment contribution, automated. Your debt minimum payments, automated. Your savings transfer on payday, automated. Your TFSA or ISA or 401k contribution, automated. Every automation removes one potential decision from a fatigued brain. Multiply that across 12 months, and the compounding effect on portfolio quality is significant. The financial system that requires no decisions to function is the system that performs consistently regardless of your cognitive state on any given Tuesday evening. Step 4. Remove financial apps from your phone's home screen. This sounds trivially small. It is not. The friction between a depleted brain and a financial decision is largely determined by how easy it is to make the decision. A financial app on your home screen, one tap away at all times, removes all friction from reactive financial decisions made in depleted states. Moving it to a folder, requiring a second step to access, adding Face ID as a secondary confirmation for trades, these minor friction increases have a documented effect on impulsive financial behavior. You are not preventing yourself from using the app. You are inserting enough pause that the automatic decision-making pathway of a depleted brain gets interrupted. Step 5. Turn off all non-essential financial notifications. Every notification from a financial app is a decision prompt arriving at an uncontrolled time. Often that time is after work, in the evening, during a moment of relaxation when your cognitive defenses are down. The notification says, "Look at this. Consider this. Act on this." A depleted brain is more likely to respond to that prompt than a rested one. Turn off price alerts. Turn off market news notifications. Turn off promotional messages. Turn off the weekly summary notifications that surface when you have not logged in. Leave on only the notifications that represent genuine required action: security alerts, failed transaction notices, actual payment confirmations. Everything else is engagement bait that benefits the platform and not your portfolio. Step 6. Create a financial decision waiting list. Instead of acting on financial ideas when they arrive, write them down. A note on your phone, a running list in a notebook, whatever works. Every financial idea that comes to you outside your designated Saturday morning window goes on the list. When Saturday morning comes, review the list. Some items will still seem important. Many will seem unnecessary in the light of a rested brain and 24 hours of distance. This is the investment equivalent of sleeping on a big purchase. The list is not delay for its own sake. It is the filter between a fatigued brain's impulse and your portfolio's exposure to it. Here is the reframe. Most financial advice focuses on making better decisions: better stock picks, better timing, better allocation, better research, better discipline. But the research on decision fatigue suggests that for many investors, especially busy young professionals with demanding careers, the problem is not the quality of decisions when made well. It is the quantity of decisions being made poorly. The solution is not to become a better decision maker under adverse conditions. It is to stop making financial decisions under adverse conditions. A financial system that requires fewer decisions produces better outcomes than one that requires many, because fewer decisions means fewer opportunities for fatigue to corrupt the process. The paradox of sophisticated financial management for a young professional in 2026 is this: the more automated, simplified, and decision minimized your financial system is, the better it typically performs. Not because complexity is wrong, because complexity requires decisions. Decisions require cognitive resources. Cognitive resources are finite and depleted daily by a demanding modern career. Kenji does not need to become a better investor. He needs to become an investor who makes almost no active decisions. And so, in most cases, do you? Your brain is not failing you when it makes poor financial decisions at 9 in the evening after a full day of work. It is doing exactly what brains do under cognitive depletion. It is defaulting, reacting, taking the path of least resistance. The financial interface in your hand is designed to benefit from exactly that state. You can take that advantage away from it. Identify your no-fly zone hours and honor them. Schedule financial decisions on Saturday morning with a rested brain. Automate every routine financial process so that it runs without requiring your decision. Remove the apps from your home screen and the notifications from your phone. Write down financial ideas as they arrive and evaluate them later, not in the moment. Kenji's $980 of decision fatigue leakage across 18 months, compounded at 8% for 30 years, is approximately $10,800 from decisions made while tired, from notifications acted on in depleted states, from platform defaults accepted without the cognitive resources to question them. None of it required bad intentions. None of it required recklessness. Just a depleted brain meeting a financial interface at the wrong time of day, repeatedly, over 18 months. Your portfolio does not need you to make better decisions. It needs you to make fewer of them. And the ones you do make, to make them on a Saturday morning, well rested, with a full tank. That is it. That is the upgrade. Drop a comment and tell me, have you ever made a financial decision late at night or in a depleted state that you regretted in the morning? A trade, a subscription, a platform switch, a panic move? Tell me what happened, because naming the pattern is the first step to breaking it. I read every comment. If you know someone who manages their portfolio primarily through late-night app sessions, share this video, not as a critique, as the framework that might save them years of invisible leakage. Subscribe to Nuella Invest. Every week, we cover the mechanisms behind financial behavior that most people never think to question until the cost shows up. See you in the next one.